I need you to be vulnerable. They don't tell you that. And it's really hard to, if that's who you are, I mean, perfect. But if they don't like that, they won't reciprocate anything back for you because they can't handle it for some reason. Because now all the, the burdens, all that you're carrying, all the weight from, as we say, the standards or whatever we have in our lives, all our problems, on top of piling the problems that they have, and then having to deal with your problems and vulnerabilities and your insecurities, I don't think they can handle that yet. I haven't at least had that yet to me.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the New Age Podcast. My name is Adio.
And my name is Charles.
And we have our, honestly, I've lost count. But we have another special guest today. And once again, it is one of my best friends. I've known this guy since elementary school. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, guys, my name is Brian. And, I'm best friends with both, Dario and Charles. Been the homies, I don't know what you guys want to know. No.
So real quick before we dive into asking you some questions, for those of you guys who don't know, we actually did. We had Brian on the show before, but we didn't have a third mic, so it was very much Brian asking things on a whiteboard. But this time,
a piece of paper, dog.
It was a little notebook, and he kind of just
shut up. Shut up. No. But this time he was asking us questions. This time we're going to ask him some questions.
Now we actually have the equipment to have a third guest.
So Brian, the first question I want to start you with is I'm gonna give people a little bit of a description. Is that cool?
Sure.
Okay, so Brian is same age as that you are, right? 20?
Yeah.
Okay, and he currently, you still doing school?
Not at the moment.
Okay, well, he's still juggling 2 jobs while at the same time trying to maintain a good social life with his friends, family, and partner or no partner?
No partner.
No partner. Now, the first question I want to ask you is, where's Beyonce? Cue Beyonce. All right. The first thing I want to ask you is, how is it balancing and juggling all of those? And do you think, in this case, you said no partner, would you even be looking for a partner at this point or no?
So it is very difficult to maintain both jobs and be able to just kind of like hang with friends and all that, because it's like you have to find the time, and now you got to time manage everything that you're doing, whether it's work, you make plans, you're running errands. Whatever you got to do with your daily life, you got to manage it now. It's not like, whenever I feel like it. You have to plan it out days beforehand. If you're going to make plans, stuff is going on, you got to call out at work, It's a struggle, especially with me doing 2 jobs. I work one, 4 to 8, whatever, whatever my shift. It could be an 8-hour. Then I still got a, couple hours to myself and then jump right into the next shift. So I'll be done by like 7, 8 o'clock. There goes my day. I'm pretty much going home just to rest up, get some sleep, ready for the next day. And it's just very hard to struggle, or not struggle, but more like maintain that balance between having that social, time with your friends, having social time with your family, and even having social time with yourself to kind of catch up with yourself, get a breather, have a self-care day, and balance work at the same time. But I've been able to do it so far. It's just, I don't think I won't be able to keep it up that long. But let's see how long I can keep it up for. I'll keep the fight. And
that is, so Dario knows him more than I do. When I catch up with Brian, it's these few moments, or here and there, we have Brian on the phone while Dario asks him. Like, it's those few moments. But what I want to ask you, Brian, is, did you choose to take on 2 jobs?
Yeah.
Can I ask what was like? Was it just the idea of I want to keep working, I want to do something, or was it like I might need the financial? And if so, would you believe it's still worth it right now?
It's more for financial. It's more in the sense that, okay, obviously I haven't found my purpose yet, but then at the same time, I want to go back to school, but I also need the money and the resources for it. And the fact that, I gotta pay bills, things to, my own personal, and try to become more independent, I obviously need a job. So right now, juggling 2 jobs, that helps me to figure myself out, what I want to do next, what decisions do I want to take, and where to go forward. do I want to keep this job? Do I want to let it go? If I let one go, what do I do with that spare time? You know? So it's all in just, figuring out what I want to do next and how can I achieve it.
And would you say in this case, because let's be honest, not many guys our age are really putting in that type of mindset of just because I'm replacing this time with something else doesn't mean that's free time. That's what I got from you, right?
As in the sense, like, right now, I don't want to have a lot of free time. I don't want to have a lot of free time to myself because I know it's dangerous. It's dangerous in the sense that if I have too much free time, who knows what I could be doing? Whether it's something productive or just sitting on the couch or just sleeping. You never know. And I would prefer to be productive than, just sitting on a couch doing nothing. I could be helping other people, with their lives. I could be finding my purpose while simultaneously work and balance everything out. I'm just living the flow of life right now.
Now you said this thing on purpose, and that's probably been a topic seen everywhere since COVID, in my opinion. I've seen it in a movie Soul. They have like multiple shows where it's more focused on that now.
Mm-hmm.
And you said you're still finding it, which I think is really honest and great because we're young.
Well, what do you expect?
Well, people tend to stress themselves on I'm not living my purpose. I'm not, but it's like we're young. And I like how you said you're still looking. And I feel like that's something where people don't pay much attention to, but mind me asking.
Mm-hmm.
You said you're looking for your purpose.
Okay.
Do you have an idea of what it is? And if so, do you think in the case of once you find that purpose, that's like your cherry on the top? Or are you someone, in this case, I'm sure me or Dario could relate, I don't know if he wants to give a personal testimony, where it's a battle, in my opinion. It's me stating. And
Okay.
I want to know if you agree or not.
Okay, throw it out.
It's a battle when you find something along the purpose you believe is for you.
Mm-hmm.
And at the moment you're single, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you have something that you want to have for a lifetime, and then you have something you want to develop now to create a lifetime of it. My question to you is, have you ever had that question come across? I've asked him this question. Have you ever asked that question come across of when you find that person you want and you're here doing great with yourself, you're doing 2 jobs, something most guys don't even consider.
Yeah.
You're maintaining a positive attitude.
Oh, that's been a long stretch, man. That's a whole different conversation there.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
You know what? You're positive in the moment.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you're willing. I'll say that you're willing.
Oh, yeah, I'm willing to be positive and keep moving forward. That's how you should look at it, anyways. Everyone should look at it that way.
And that's true. That's powerful. And this is what I asked him, and I want to ask you the same question as well. When you find that person, are you what's your goal of a woman? Like, you just looking to just date? Or you're like, if I find someone, I want it to be worth my time, someone to marry? Or
I'm the type of guy who, if I'm gonna date, I don't know about you guys, but I'm the type of guy, if I like someone and I want to date them, I want to look for something that grows, not just along with me, but that they learn and grow with me.
Mm-hmm.
So we learn from each other and it blossoms into something long term. And what I look into a woman is like someone who can understand and be able to like roll with the punches of both of our power struggles, whether it's hers and mine, and be able to handle that as long as I handle myself, especially when I need it. Because there's moments where like I'm really alone and it's hard to like maintain, a positive mindset and or keep my sanity because I'm working too much or I'm doing too much. And I don't have, sometimes I don't have anyone to, come across, whether I'm too busy and I just don't have the time to be like, hey, I want to hit up a friend, just vent out. And, I just want someone to be there for me, accept me for who I am and, help me grow as a person.
Would you say at least the schedule you have now inhibits what you want? Or would you say in this case, what I've had a conversation with Dario about is imagine this. Tomorrow you find that person you're looking for. She provides everything you want. But more importantly, you provide enough for her where you guys just keep providing for each other.
Yeah.
But you still have such a productive and time-consuming schedule. You still have this drive and consistency where you were accustomed to constantly working, meaning you don't have enough time to share. Like you said, you had to schedule ahead.
Mm-hmm.
My question to you is, how would you handle that? For those guys out there who are probably in the same position as you, working 2 jobs or working really hard, and they find across someone, because it's a little scary nowadays for guys to date. In the case of attention, and if you can't give your partner enough attention, someone's bound to, or social media will help her find it.
Yeah, it does inhibit. How working 2 jobs, although I've seen from coworkers that they can balance it out. And they have a relationship. So, or they'll be working a lot and still have a relationship outside of work. I don't know. For me, I'm the type of person that I want to have my productive time, but then have enough time to be able to give someone attention. Not for like days, let's say. Not like to be clinging to them, but at least when we're together, have that attention, have that intimate time. Just be, a couple. Help each other out in the dire of needs. If you need something, I got you. They need something, they got me. You know what I mean?
Did you want to ask something before I keep going? Because I feel like I'm gonna exclude you.
Yeah,
it's not that like you're excluding me. It's just how you describe it, like, and how I mentioned that at the very beginning. I grew up with this guy. I've known him since elementary, so I know a lot about him, and we do talk. So I might know things about him that right now, like, I might not think about to bring up for the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But you, on the other hand, you're, like you were saying, you're getting to know him. So for me, it's better that you continue with these questions so that the people that are out there that are,
they get to know him as well.
They get to know him as well, because I'm here kind of like, well, what do I ask, since I already know about Brian? Like, what's interesting that I can ask that'll bring a different aspect or something? Like, that's more something I have to think about, or see how the conversation is going for me to have a good enough question to bring up, since I know him so well.
Okay, well, in this case, I'm gonna navigate, if you don't mind, just from just from the stuff I'm really interested about, that I know you probably have a strong take on.
Okay.
And in this case, it's kind of regarding. So, would you consider yourself you're someone who works 2 jobs, and would you say you're a kind character, like you're a good person?
Yeah.
So, there's this saying, the good, nice guys finish last. My question to you is, do you agree with that? And if so, how much of the majority of people, at least on the guys' part, do you believe that applies to?
I'm one of those type of nice guys. I have to admit it, but I am. So we do kind of finish last. Because you're basically, how do we say it? You're like simping. You're trying to cling onto that person when they have their lives to deal with, their problems to deal with as well, and you're trying to cling onto them. And women nowadays, they want, a guy who can, give them attention, but also who has ambitions, who has goals. And, that's what they look for. Not someone who's just giving them attention all the time. But obviously, there's women out there that love attention. They need it. It's just, there's a lot of different women out there. There's a lot of different personalities. But most of the time, it's either, I want a bunch of attention, or I just want a little attention, but, the attention that I get means everything.
So you would say, in the case, and I'm going to ask you this question following.
Okay.
Why is it that in our generation, being quote unquote clingy or simping, in the case of why do you think, I'm gonna give my response as well, but like the question is, why is it bad nowadays to really want someone?
Give me a moment for that. That's something I'm gonna think about.
I'm gonna at least regard this one, and then you could just feel free to chime in, because my thing is this: it's such a contradiction.
I agree.
You have people who, and I'm gonna speak, And I'm not going to try, if some ladies feel attacked, I apologize. I am not trying to attack anyone. I am simply trying to make a point clear for every other guy I know, and me in my positions before, and many other positions I've been in, or people I know and care about have been in, where if for some reason, when a guy wants a woman too much, he's officially unattractive. And I don't get that. I don't understand that. I feel like that's something like in this case of the nice guys finish last. I know many guys who will do anything. They will go the limits and beyond for one person. And then he would get the phrase said at him, he's too nice. He's too passive. I want someone a little bit more like who's gonna like smack me. And I'm like, well, then they like, oh, no.
I go, you're good in there. Yeah.
Then they clarify, like, no, I mean, I want someone who could like be dominant. Like, I don't want no one passive. I don't want, and I'm gonna ask you this, and it's that first question I asked you, why is it so bad? But the second question is, why do you think every guy has to be dominant? Like, is that an expectation that was falsely put upon us?
To answer that second question, I believe it was. Society nowadays has you looking at, guys with like bulky bodies, muscular, working out every single day, freaking on the grind, doing, entrepreneur stuff or whatever, just on the grind, getting money, getting exotic cars, whatever. It's just thrown at your face, especially on, not even just Instagram, Twitter, whatever. Social media just throws that into your face. We start comparing ourselves to that. And to answer that question, yeah, society does put that on us. That, we got to be strong, we got to be dominant, not just for women, but for ourselves. We got to be cold and heartless because that's what is being placed upon us. Not, try to be your true self nowadays. Nowadays, trying to be your true self is really difficult, whether it's, being yourself or not.
And then there's something I want to talk about, and we recently had, if anything, this will be uploaded by the time before we upload this conversation. But so it's okay to talk on it, right? Okay.
Hey, you just gotta make sure, man.
So we had a guest. This is already uploaded, so it's okay to say. We had a guest, and he gave up a good point where it's like not everybody could be Superman. Society expects men to be all Superman. Some people are Spider-Man. Some people are civilians. But that doesn't mean that everyone has to be Superman. No. Spider-Man, he could get beat the hell up. Like, Superman could take way more punches than Spider-Man. But Spider-Man's still a hero. Yeah. He's just not held to that ability as Superman, but he's still a hero. Civilians, they're still heroes. They're the ones who try their best to support and make these people feel like their work is valuable. And then Superman is Superman. But one thing I made as a key point, which I feel like everyone needs to acknowledge, is like, even if you give the comparison to Superman, Superman's weakness is by far the biggest, most exposed weakness in comic history. A fucking green rock is his weakness.
The kryptonite. Exactly.
And one thing I just want to make a point is, not everyone's Superman, yes. Not everyone's Spider-Man, yes. Not everyone's a civilian, yes. But everybody has a weakness. Everybody has their strengths. In this case, what the hell was that?
I don't know.
Brian. Oh, okay. Would you say men are looked at more for our weaknesses than our strengths?
Yeah. I definitely agree. Because think about it this way. You're looked down upon as a guy that you're weaker than you're stronger. Because a stronger guy can do so much better, can excel so much better than a weaker guy. Weaker guys get, they get looked down upon. They're like, you're weak, you're pathetic. As the strong guys, they get all the, respect, the worth, the value, you name it. Why? Because they're the heroes, quote unquote. As we're like the weak guys, they're trying to figure themselves out. They're trying to figure out what they want to do, what they want to achieve, what types of goals, desires, dreams, you name it. As we're the strong guys, they already have that all figured out. So they're the heroes, quote unquote. You know what I mean?
I get what you mean. I'm with that 100.
Yeah.
And with that, I want to. It's like a DJ over here.
No, I'm having to
I know,
readjust
yeah,
everything.
yeah. But with that, I want to ask, what would you say we need more of in today's society? Do we need more men to be honest and open, or do we need more men to shut up and muscle up?
Is there none in between, or is it I have to choose one or the other?
Yeah, I would say you have to choose.
Okay, he says
Okay.
he says he wants you to choose. I say I want you to answer. What do we need more of?
I say I would need a mix of both. Nowadays, it's like a man has to be cold and heartless. They need to shut up, and just take it like a man, right? That freaking phrase. Take it like that phrase comes up a lot. Not in that, the wrong way. I don't know if you guys had it really coming on, but it's just like, think about it like this. If you're not honest and open, most relationships don't work. Most friendships don't work. Most businesses, most, deals, whatever, it doesn't work because you're not open and honest about what you want or what you need or what you desire. And because we're as guys, you need to shut up and just take it. Just, move on. You know what I mean? You have such a dirty.
I'm sorry.
You have such a day. We'll leave that for another day.
No.
But as I was saying before, being more open and honest gives you better opportunities to understand something or someone better. And that's what we need more of. Because guys nowadays don't talk about their feelings, whether it's to their family, friends, or a relationship. They don't like talking about them. They keep them in for so long because that's the standard that we're held at. That's the expectation. Oh, just shut up, move on, don't let it faze you. And there's moments where, you do, and there's moments that you don't. And the moments that you do, you don't show it. And the moments that you don't show it.
And you made a good point, and I want to take this further, which is we're talking about standards.
Yeah.
And standards are usually held up against men. My question to you is, and you let me know if you agree with this or if you've seen any experiences like this, but I feel like these standards, they ruin some men, and worst of all, they ruin the people attached to men. For example, a man who's held to these standards is now carrying these standards for the rest of his life. When he finds that great person that he wants to share his life with, she can never get the full him because of these standards he was held to.
Yeah.
That now she has a limited version of him. You know how hard it is to care and stay and love someone
who's limited?
Exactly.
That's very difficult to maintain. It doesn't work out.
And my case to you is, have you ever had any of those experiences where you when you look at it, you think maybe it was just because of these standards?
I don't know about experiences. Maybe I need to try to remember those experiences. But at the moment, I'm the type of person who's direct, open, and honest. I don't just keep things. If I need to keep it in, then I'll keep it in for a reason. I have a reason to keep it to myself. But when I don't, then I'll be direct and I'll be upfront about it, whether it's my feelings or my thoughts, which could be a good and a bad thing at the same time. It's a weakness and it's a blessing, because I can be upfront and honest with someone who I'm really in love with, or genuine, or whatever, or with friends, and they can communicate better and understand you better as a person on what you want and what you need. So that way they decide, do I really want to be his friend, or do I want a relationship? Because it's better to communicate. It's not 100% all the time, because it's going to be very difficult to maintain communication. But most of the time, communication just helps you understand each other so much better on a deeper level.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, keep it 100. Because then you connect with that person better. And the more you have connections, the more they'll see you for the real you, and not just held at expectations or at standards or even at limited. And as, bringing back that point, being held at standards, it limits you.
Mm-hmm.
It holds you back because now you can't be your full self. You can't be at your full potential because, people are placing high expectations or standards on you that now that's who you are. That's what you're worth, quote unquote. Instead of you pushing your boundaries, going outside of your comfort zone, and just being able to say, F it, let's do it. Now, for the person who fell for that person that's limited, they won't get the full version of that person. They won't be able to see them grow any further because their potential just stops at their standards. And to love them, you won't be able to. You'll only give maybe 50% of that love and the other 50% because you don't know that person all that well. You may know them, but because they have that limiter, I guess you can say, you won't know them all that well to know, I want to stay long. I want to, grow, have something with this person long term. So that's just my thoughts on it.
No, and you made a good point because the way I could give that in reference to the way I was taking it is like, imagine when you're watching something or you're reading a book, but you have to go back to the page to read it again because you realize you did not understand it.
Yeah,
that
that's how it is.
That I feel like in this case that's the way I think of as a limited man in a relationship.
Yeah,
you had to keep going back to that page and rereading it and realizing you're missing words. Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't even catch this. Oh, maybe it means this because of the fact that it's not that clear and because, as you said, we're held to standards.
Yeah.
And the next thing I want to follow with that, and I kind of want to direct this more towards the women. How often did you hear, mind me asking, you've been in a relationship, correct?
Yeah.
So how often did you hear that typical saying, not on just like media or like TikTok, but where it's like we as women would say that they need more vulnerability from men. And specifically, or the way I want to navigate that is, do you believe that's true? And then the second question is, if it is true, do you think they can handle it?
In my experiences, I don't believe. I've heard one woman be like, maybe I have, maybe once or twice, out of like maybe a couple of relationships, or sometimes where we're starting to talk, but they're never like, oh, I need you to be vulnerable. They don't tell you that, and it's really hard to. If that's who you are, I mean, perfect. But if they don't like that, they won't reciprocate anything back for you because they can't handle it for some reason. Because now all the the burdens, all that you're carrying, all the weight from, as we say, the standards or whatever we have in our lives, all our problems, on top of piling the problems that they have, and then having to deal with your problems and vulnerabilities and your insecurities, I don't think they can handle that yet. I haven't at least had that yet to me.
Do you want to chime in on that one?
Go ahead, man.
I do. But I feel like just in this situation, especially now and today, a lot of women don't say it, like how Brian was saying, they don't really be upfront and tell you, but it's more of they're hinting at it or they expect you to open up at some point. Now, one thing I've learned a lot is us men are the kind of people that we understand for ourselves that whenever we're in a situation or whenever we're not okay or we're going through problems or something and we talk to someone, sometimes it's not even like giving us a response or an answer. Sometimes it's just listening and having that presence there with you. And I'm sure both of you guys can agree.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't, as dudes, you don't even say nothing to your bro. You don't got to be like, it's gonna be okay. Like next week's a new week. Like sometimes just listening to what he have to say and just letting him let it all out. He feels better. He's opened up. But for women, what I've noticed is for women, they try and find an answer. They try and find a way that they can help within that answer. So sometimes when, a guy is trying to vent to them or a guy is trying to tell them their issues, their insecurities, their problems that they're going through, they try and find an answer. They try and find a way to jump in and help. When sometimes it's it's not that we need help. It's just we trust you enough to tell you this stuff, so that we're just hoping you can just listen. Because sometimes we just talk and we start saying stuff and we give ourselves the answer within whatever it is that we're saying. So I just feel like, you know, women, it combats that in the sense of women try to find an answer, try to find a way to help out, and they take it more as like, okay, you know, this just seems like a normal problem I can fix, instead of, oh, you know, this is actually an insecurity, or this is actually something deep down from him that he's willing to trust me with. Because I feel like that's another thing, is not every woman understands how deep, um
A man's psyche really is, and the
yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
he shares that ponders in his psyche.
Oof.
Because the thing is,
Don't
like,
even get
you
started
have to
with
get
that.
to a deep point of trust and deep point of, you know what, I'm gonna tell you this, and then you let it out, and they kind of just give you some like casual response as if it was like a normal conversation, and you know, and at times they don't even like acknowledge that it's a deep conversation. I was in a relationship where I felt so comfortable, and I let something out about my past, and including someone within my past. And I've never done it, never spoke to anyone about what I had told her, but she could tell that it was something I was holding in. And she was the only one out of everyone that I've talked to, that I've been with, that actually acknowledged that I opened up and told her what I told her, and trusted her with what I said. And she actually asked me, she was like, so do you need my help? Do you want me to give you an answer? Or was it just you talking to me? You want to just tell me this because you trust me? I feel like the moment that that interaction happened, I was able to completely trust her and know that if I were to ever go through anything, I can be upfront. I can tell her what's going on and what I'm thinking in my mind, to you know, to either, if I need help, if I need an answer, if I just need someone to vent to. I was able to find that security with that one person, but that was years ago. I have yet to bump into someone who has that similar trait or can understand at least that aspect.
You spoke on a specific part. I kid you not. Where, dude, that's powerful. You
Yeah.
know that if a woman could provide, just the ability to ask him in the moment of his vulnerability, what do you want from me?
Yeah.
It, as you said, it makes you guys really together. It makes the communication actual communication.
Hmm.
And in the regards to, in this case, do women want vulnerability? I would say, as everything, a healthy portion.
Yeah.
As they would want masculinity, a healthy portion, not over, because then that person's quote unquote toxic masculine.
Yeah.
Confidence, not over, a healthy portion, because then that person's very arrogant, cocky.
Yep.
So just as much as vulnerability, I would say a healthy portion, because I do believe it's like, if you want to eat better, imagine like a guy is a meal, you know. He needs to have some, you know, you ever seen those little those pictures at the you know, high school cafeterias or middle school?
Oh, yeah.
It's just like,
Yeah.
make sure you
remember
grab your
those.
apple, make sure you grab your dairy, make sure you grab your meat, make sure you grab your greens, make
Oh,
sure, and then you
man.
have a well balanced meal. I think
Oh, yeah.
I think, at least in the case of, not every guy needs to be this alpha. Not every guy needs to be super passive. Not every guy needs to be super dominant. Not every guy needs to be Superman. Not every guy needs to be Spider-Man. But every guy does need to be a well-balanced meal.
You hear that, ladies? Not a snack, but a meal.
You don't, how do you say it? You eat too much beans, we all know what's going to happen the next day.
Oh, man. That's
You
the
eat
worst.
too much meat, your cholesterol and blood levels will rise. You eat too much eggs, your cholesterol will rise. You eat too much cereal, that's a lot of milk. I don't know how dairy affects you, I know it affects me.
We don't want to even go there.
I'm just saying that I think the issue is, there's these standards, and I believe the reason why they became an issue, because I think separately everything works out well.
Mhm.
It works out well.
Yeah.
If you put the healthy portions together, I think that's just something we could all agree on, that's someone who put the work in.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you that these standards were created but I also say that these standards were created and they were emphasized in one particular portion. Too much chicken on the plate, not enough greens.
I mean, he ain't wrong. He ain't wrong about that.
No, not at all.
But I would want to ask at least this case. Well, actually, I'm gonna say, can every girl handle it? Some
can.
Some.
Yeah, some, most definitely, because I could speak on behalf of my partner that she definitely can handle it, and it's because of those conversations and that communication and just being people of good character ourselves. You're able to be a good character towards your partner. So some, yes, they can handle it. Some, I've seen some people
that I don't know, man. They cannot.
And it's just like, wow. I don't want to sound mean, but you're gonna be single for a while.
I don't think I've heard that one.
like how do you say it? And I'm sure you can agree. There are some women where I'm speaking on behalf as if I was single. Okay, I'm not. Anyways, but when I was single, every guy could agree. When you're single, you know there's a woman you just want to be friends with. You know there's a woman where you would, you know.
Oh yeah, we already know
you play Smash Bros with.
Yeah. Smash Bros. Perfect. There
For
you go.
everybody out there, get the hint.
And then there's that one woman you're like, no, that's someone I would want for life.
Yeah.
And just that's why I say probably the friend and that woman you want for life can handle. But I don't think the woman who you just want to play Smash Bros with can handle.
Yeah. He's not wrong.
And I'm going to lead into one last question. I don't know if Dario wants to feed into anything, but the last question I want to ask you, Brian, is what would you say to any guy out there who is doing what these standards are telling him to do? They're telling him, you need to go get 2 jobs. You need to build your wealth. You need to stack your bread. You need to be this guy. And all he wants is just someone to share his life with. What would you tell him, and how would you advise him to go about it?
So for all those guys who are held to that standard, I believe that I would say break it. Don't just keep yourself at that standard because it's holding you back. You don't want to be held back by that because you're not being at your full potential. You're not being the better version of yourself that you could be tomorrow. Because you're putting yourself at a limit. Oh, this is what I can do. This is my worth. You know you could do so much better. Whether it's in your friendships, relationships, work, career, you can do so much better. So what are you doing about it? That's something you need, for everybody out there, ask yourself that. What are you doing about it? If there's reasons that you're doing it, whether it's financial or something's going on, problems, that's understandable. But if you're just doing it, because you don't know what to do yet, I think that's an issue. That becomes an issue because now you're like, you're not becoming who you can be the next tomorrow, the next day, the next new, better version of yourself. And that's important to learn from your mistakes so that tomorrow you won't make them. Tomorrow you're a new person.
So what are you going to do about it? That's a good question I hope people took. And I know I said this last one, but I'm going to ask this question on behalf of anybody watching. So Brian, who do you want to be and what are you going to do about it? So you could let them know, hey, I'm this person right now. I'm going to be this person. I want to be this person. Even if you don't have a clear idea, just I have an idea that I kind of want to be this person and I'm going to do this about it so they can see they can do it as well.
Right now, I'm working 2 jobs. You don't got to work 2 jobs, okay? For anybody out there, you don't. If it's a necessity, then perfect. It might fit your lifestyle for a certain extent because you can get a better job. You can do so much more with your life. But if it's just, if that's a necessity right now, okay, that's fine. But you don't need to be a Superman and work 2 or 3 jobs, have the most expensive car, be buying the most expensive clothes and things like that. You should know your worth, whether it's, who you are as a person or your character. For anybody out there, it's important to just be true to yourself. Now, that's a double-edged sword. That's one of those things that, okay, some people's characters can be a little, and personalities can be a little bit twisted when they say, "Oh, be true to yourself." It's just, when I mean be true to yourself, I mean as in, people make mistakes every day. New problems occur. There's new circumstances, new things going on. You're not a Superman to handle everything at one time, because you're going to get overwhelmed. So, take it slow. Every day is a new day. Every day you can, tackle those problems, those circumstances, whatever you're going through. I think that's what's important. To be aware of how much you're going to do and where you're going to go.
I'm ready to jump in. I'm just trying to.
All right, just jump in. Come on, man.
That's
all I'm looking
at. I'm just trying
I
to read
noticed
just
from
the
the
audio.
corner of my eye, you're just like, oh, I'm ready.
No, and I'm pretty sure I said this before during the podcast episodes, but I've also done 2 jobs before, so I understand, what you're going through, what you've gone through, how it is mentally, physically, and emotionally when it comes down to the pressure and the abuse you get from work
Mhm.
because of how limited you are and the time management, just how you were explaining. And I know you've done things to the point where you are busy as if you were working multiple jobs. So, I'm sure all of us can relate, but that's just us because we've put ourselves in these positions.
Mhm.
Not everyone out there has that, that decision of, what, let me take on 2 jobs, or right now I only have one, let me jump into a second one, because, they still want to focus on doing friend hangouts. They want to go and fuck about and go and, I don't know, go parties, go do this and that. Like, everyone's doing their own thing. I just want to point out the fact that for someone like me and Brian, because like I said, me and him, we've talked before, so I know things where I'm kind of like, what else do I ask? But it's like, with the 2 jobs and how I experienced it and how I talked to you about it and how you've experienced your work so far and you've talked to me about it, it's very stressful and it's very much mentally.
Yeah.
And you do really have to time management everything. I kid you not, like, even before I started my second work, I was using my calendar on my phone to like make sure I had my days not planned out, but just, okay, this day I have this. I need to make sure I don't make any other plans within that time zone, or I need to remember I have this. I know for you, you were sending me your whole list of, okay, at this hour I'm gonna do this and then this and then this and this. And I was like, I can't do that every hour. I tried.
That's hard.
But, everything else works, or everything works for each person the way they want to get it done. It's just having that energy, that strive, and that determination to go and get it done. Right now, with this whole podcast and working alongside, this feels like a second job. And I've said this, I feel like I've said this enough times during a podcast episode, but this is something I enjoy. This is something I want to continue doing. So to me, it doesn't feel like a second job. That's why I don't get that insane stress and that, just I don't get into that bad mental state like I would back when I was with that second job and working both of them at the same time. Because I know you could see and you would tell me afterwards of how emotionally and physically drained I was, and I was like, I was being a bitch.
Yeah, when I saw him, like, bro, you look like
B mode.
when I saw that in those moments, I said, bro, you look like shit.
I mean,
No, but that's the thing, is like, he would point it out straight up and he would tell me, he was like, bro, like, you're giving me attitude, like, you're being a bitch, like, you're doing this and this. And I'm just telling him, I'm like, dude, like, I've been working both jobs. I'm just at past my point with customers and with helping and with attitude and this and that. So I'm like, I'm now venting to him basically. So it's not something simple. Definitely isn't something anyone can go out and do. Now, I'm not saying no one can go do it. You just have to understand that there are challenges and things that come along the way for everything that you want to step up and do. When it comes to hobbies and pursuing that hobby and creating a business like Orlando, or, things like starting a second job, things like doing school and work, like all these different things, each step you take comes new challenges and new progression, but at the same time, new stress, more stress, new things that you end up realizing within yourself that you either can or cannot handle. But that is something you have to battle with every single day for as long as you can or for as much as you can endure until you feel like you're at the breaking point or you're at your limits. And that's when you understand more of yourself and how you can push yourself to either for the next time strive for more or know what you can accomplish and try to at least one up it each time to push yourself to do better. Because if you know where you go and where you stand for accomplishments, I'm not gonna lie, yes, you can settle. But at the same time, the how do I say this? The emotional gain that you get from surpassing your previous accomplishments is amazing. From the people around you, they'll notice these things and they'll point it out. Or even just them like being there with you and having that moment with them where you're surpassing your previous like achievements. You then build these memories and you want to continue forward. These are the things that will like push you to strive for more. I kid you not, being next to this guy for over 2 years now, we have been pushing each other more and more and more to do things that I probably didn't even expect to do the moment we met each other back at church. Because I know if you would ask me what I wanted to do, and if I were to ask you what you wanted to do, it would have just been simply, I just wanted to go to school or I just wanted to go to this place and do this. And now here we are, we're speaking our truth. We are doing what we want to do, but this is nowhere to what we had imagined on what we were going to do. All while we're managing our time, we're planning things out, we're scheduling with guests, we're doing things that we want to do. But each time we're trying to one up it. How can we edit this thing to make it even better? How can we set up this, setup to make it look different? How can we use a second camera? How can we do this and that? We're trying to do live streams. Like that's a whole new thing that we're looking into that neither of us really had much knowledge at all. Luckily, we've had connections and we know people that are also willing to help us out because they see that we're trying to push ourselves to more and more. When you surround yourself around these kind of people that want to help you out and strive for better, it's like an end game over. Like you have now surpassed other people because you're not afraid to ask for help, but at the same time, you're showing these people that you're asking for help that you're not taking their help for granted. You are accepting their help because they are going to push you to the top and you're going to bring them with you. I think I'm good.
You spoke on a lot, and I'm not going to lie. I don't want to touch on every single thing. You made each point clear.
He made a lot of points.
He made them clear, though, so there's no reason to retouch on them. But there is something I do want to say, and we right now sitting here, we are 3 different people in characters, but we are the same people in value and principles. And I'll speak about this after. I can speak on it here. It doesn't matter. But an idea just sparked in my head. Anyways.
Another podcast episode.
No. It's just...
Another live stream?
Well, if I were to put this in a sense, it's because we're 3 different people. I would say we are the 3 examples of the types of men I believe are so common today. You have people who handle things differently. People who, in this case, civilian. Spider-Man, Superman, fuck it, throw in Batman, throw in Green Lantern. But you get me? I feel like
Avengers.
But we are.
Don't even get into that argument.
What I would say is we are relatable, and people need that. At least as far as I'm concerned, the women need to understand that, and they're looking to understand that. Mm-hmm. But the men are looking to be able to relate to that. And a little series, maybe, who knows? Called, I don't know, Relatable Dudes. I don't know.
I don't know. Part 2.
We'll definitely have Brian for sure. Again, there's no doubt, because Brian has a lot to share. Maybe if we could catch him on a live, that'll be really dope. But it's really just depending on his schedule. You heard him, busy man. But I did want to touch on one thing, and everyone seems to be sharing a personal testimony. Okay, let me give some of mine. quick personal testimony. It's not going to be nowhere near the length, but it's just as they. What? No, don't take it like that. Okay. Anyways, but look, Brian's working 2 jobs right now. Dario worked 2 jobs at a point. I was working 2 jobs. I was at AutoZone and I was working an hour and a half away in Ontario. Actually, I should probably not say that. I'll bleep myself out. I'll get in trouble for that. Anyways, I was working. Yeah. So I was working here in my home city, and then I was working in Ontario, an hour and a half away from where I live. But I always drove 2 hours away. We lived in my car Monday through Friday, and then even then, I would do door dashing. I would be doing a delivery job that was very much independent contract, so it was on my own. But it in a way, it was 3, and at the same time, what he just said was true, and I'm pretty sure you can relate to this. I think not everyone has to work multiple jobs. Not everyone should work multiple jobs, but you do if you know you want some part of a future that does involve multiple lifestyles and multiple professions, or you know you want something where you know you're gonna have to build up to. I do think because of who we are today, sitting here together, that helps. Because if I wasn't doing multiple jobs, if Dario wasn't doing multiple jobs, we wouldn't be doing, in this case, the podcast and be so accustomed to it easily. It would be very much a quit within the first week. Because it's like, I just finished work. I don't want to do this. What the hell? Double the work? And I'm sure you can relate because I know you said you do your own thing. I need your Insta. But he tells me that you're out here constantly giving affirmations, giving good messages, random days, consistently.
Just there's days that I'll do it, and there's days that I won't. It just depends if I really want to throw it out there on my Insta, you know.
But in a way, that's a job, and I think just putting yourself in the position to be accustomed to that, to one day manipulate what is that position and switch it out for an occupation or a lifestyle that you would prefer, but you're preparing yourself for that lifestyle. I think that's something that is not talked about. And I'm realizing as we're sharing everything, and I'm like, wow, the moment Brian finds what exactly he wants to do, because I'm still in the pathway. I don't know exactly what I do. I have ideas of multiple things I want to do. I've told him my 3, and it's just 3 I know of so far. But I know I'll be ready for it, and I know you will be ready for it, and I know that he will be ready for it. We're young, but we know for what we're doing today, we will be ready for it because we've built a schedule and a lifestyle accustomed to it.
No, and you made a great point with that because now we know we can relate to other people and connect with others because we've been through those experiences, whether, it's working 3 jobs, working 2 jobs, or even just having a busy lifestyle, or even just having a lot of free time. We already know how that is. We already know what we need to do to make it work as best as we can. You know what I mean?
No, I'm with you 100.
And that's true. That point was so great because now that's how we're able to connect with other people. We're able to, broadcast messages to others, give advice. We're able to, be there for others and reconnect. And that's important in today's society. Because nowadays, I don't know, most people don't like talking about their feelings or thoughts. They don't like, opening up. It's just not how it is nowadays.
I will say we are in a fear-based community and a fear-based generation.
Yeah.
Hell, this pandemic just happened. It defined fear in everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And
100.
I'm pretty sure that you could relate, but putting your face in front of a camera, your voice on a mic, your opinions online, that'll scare the hell out of anybody.
Yeah, but because think about it like this. Now, it's going to be on the internet.
Mm-hmm. And
anybody can say some, stuff, whether you like it or not.
But I will tell this to anybody out there who has something they want to do. The moment you cross that barrier of fear, you come to realize that you had nothing to be afraid of the whole time. You come to realize that no matter how much people try to paint the picture that you should be afraid or that there's so much criticism in the world, negativity, dude, the moment we stepped into this and I had that fear of this comment, this, all this kind of stuff, there's been more support our way, and we're not even close to where we want to be. He knows that from the jump. We've had an insane amount of support from multiple people. But we had to exit that barrier of fear in our mind to be able to put ourselves in that environment and realize there was nothing to be afraid of the whole time. Instead, I was being lied to. I was being held for a reason. Because if everyone understood the moment you're able to pass fear or step away from fear, dude, the world's golden. And then no one wants you to see how great the world could be, because it's easier to contain someone who's afraid than someone who's not afraid.
I agree with that.
Ryan is a prime example of someone of that right now.
Oh, yeah.
Because, dude, let's be honest, we're all afraid of different things. Hell yeah.
A lot. We're afraid of a lot of things nowadays.
But you face it.
But you got to face it. That's one thing for sure. If you don't face it now, you won't be the better version of yourself tomorrow. You won't achieve your goals or your dreams because that fear just stops you. It holds you back.
So I don't even know we're probably going to... Actually, no, I know what I'll label this. Some casual dudes speaking on the truth. No, I'm just kidding. But I know we said I was going to close up with a certain question. I asked my questions. It's just we were sharing things, so I wanted to share on a few opinions. Yeah. But do you have anything you want to at least say to anybody out there listening regarding anything?
We try to rush our lives. That's one thing. We also try to compare our lives with others. Those things together do not work. Because when you rush your life, I'm trying to get this car. I'm trying to get this girl. I'm trying to get this money. And then you compare yourself on social media, on whatever, that, he has a better. So, I'm going to try to get that too. And you try to rush into that relationship, trying to rush to get into that car. And you don't fall in love with the process of what you're doing. I think you should be able to fall in love with the process of being able to struggle and get to that goal or whatever you're trying to achieve. Because at the end of the day, that's what shows you how much you worked for it. What value, the effort, the time that you're putting in for it. It could be something simple as a relationship. A nice car. Fuck it. Just a watch or something that you're getting, you're trying to go for. A career. Putting in that time and effort goes a long way. Whether it's in small steps, taking baby steps, and then jumping into something bigger. Just don't rush into life and just be true to yourself. Not just for guys, but for anyone out there. Just be true to yourself. Every day we need to become a better version of ourselves. Not for anyone else, but for ourselves. And I think that's important. That's something I want to throw out there for everybody.
Any closing statements, Dario?
No, I think we're good. I haven't really said a whole lot, but no, I feel like it's enough information out of everything that we've said that someone can at least grasp one thing out of the video. So I feel like we did it.
We'll be at this point by the time Brian's uploaded. We'll be way better with snippets. So in case he didn't grab one thing, they'll have multiple things to grab. But other than that, my name is Charles.
My name is Dario.
My name is Brian.
And this was New Age Podcast, potential series maybe coming. Who knows? All right, peace.